Hello world, today we're talking about them yet again. Yeah, you heard me, the one and only Power Rangers. Last week we did a video on how Tommy Oliver was possibly hidden in the recent Power Rangers movie. But this week we're taking it back to the spandex and counting down the top 10 Red Rangers of all time. Number 10, Shane Clark, Power Rangers Ninja Storm. Shane was chosen to be the Red Ranger by his sensei, and in doing so became the leader of his team. Using his ninja skills over air, he could blast currents of wind, run on air, and even use his Hawk Blaster to do some serious damage. His character was the first Polynesian Power Ranger ever in the history of Power Rangers, not to mention his Battleizer is one of my favorites. Number 9, Carter Grayson, Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. Who better to lead a team of Rangers than a firefighter? That's the very definition of American hero. Carter was known as the best firefighter on his platoon, but when Diabolico and his horde of demons escaped from their prison and set their sights on Mariner Bay, Carter was chosen to be the leader of the Lightspeed Rangers. Sometimes impulsive and stubborn, Carter has a tendency to run in with his eyes closed, but what he lacks in leadership skills, he makes up for in his fighting spirit, which makes him a natural-born leader through and through.
What's going on here?
Coming in at number 8, Lauren Shiva, Power Rangers Super Samurai. Yes, she made the list as being the first good female ranger. Lauren's samurai skills and tactics made her the ideal ranger. She went into hiding in order to perfect the ceiling symbol and made her brother Jaden the Red Ranger, fooling everyone and Master Xandred of her existence. Lauren is a skilled ranger and used her time in hiding to train and get stronger so that one day she could return and lead the team.
Turbo.
Number 7, Theodore J. Jarvis Johnson, or better known as TJ, Power Rangers Turbo. We knew the Tommy era was coming to an end, so when Turbo decided to pass on the torch, it was TJ who assumed the role as Red Ranger, making him the first African American male to be a Red Ranger in Power Rangers history. Right off the bat, TJ had a genuine love of helping people, and his natural leadership skills made him the ideal candidate to wear the red spandex. He would later journey into space with his team and become the Blue Ranger in Power Rangers in Space. Still, as the Red Turbo Ranger, he made his mark in Red Ranger history and even returned to fight alongside other Red Rangers in Forever Red. Number 6, Jack Landers, Power Rangers SPD. Jack was one of those unexpected Red Rangers. You know, the guy who could never in a million years wear the mantle of red, but ends up somehow surprising you? Nevertheless, Jack proved his worth as the Red Ranger by rising to the occasion and becoming one of the best Red Rangers in history. Always having 2 pistols in hand, this dude always went to work no matter what was thrown at him. Did I mention he had the genetic ability to walk through walls? That's pretty cool. And his Battleizer armor wasn't all that bad either, with not having 1, but 2 modes of power. One question though, can anyone tell me how he fit them dreads in that helmet?
Emergency.
Number 5, Leo Corbett, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. Leo is another prime example of the unexpected Red Ranger. Leo's brother Mike pulled the red Quasar Saber from the Rock, but Mike gave his saber to Leo, who then became the Red Galaxy Ranger. This dude was probably the most badass Ranger of all time. He's the only Ranger in history to rip off his shirt in the middle of a battle.
That's the way you want it? That's exactly what you'll get.
That was probably the greatest moment in Power Ranger history. I mean, Drakena was trying to kill him, and what a badass way to go out. Not to mention he blew her up at point blank range and somehow didn't kill himself. Number 4, Andros, Power Rangers in Space. Hailing from the planet KL-35, Andros was the first Red Ranger ever introduced to have powers outside of being morphed. Even though only lasting for a season, Andros became a fan favorite because of his complex background. You know, Astronema being his sister, reuniting with her, then she was kidnapped again, brainwashed, tried to kill Andros, but he accidentally killed her instead. Yeah, that background. Some sibling rivalry, right? Anyway, Andros was the first Red Ranger to access the Battleizer component, which started the trend of Battleizers for future seasons to come.
For round 2, Vexen.
Did anyone feel this was an attempt by Saban to bring in a Tommy lookalike? I mean, Andros and Tommy do look alike. Am I right? Maybe? No? Okay. Number 3, Wesley Collins, Power Rangers Time Force. Another unexpected Red Ranger circumstance. Only being used to unlock the Chronomorphers, Wes was one of those Rangers who did what he wanted and was less than serious at times. He was a rich kid growing up, but decided against inheriting his father's legacy. Instead, he wanted to write his own destiny. When Jen presented him with the Red Chronomorpher the second time, he took this as his chance to do something different with his life. Wes was a fan favorite, and since most of us who grew up with the show was just entering our teens, Wes was a good ideal role model for the emotional identity crisis that most of us were going through. I mean, this guy changed history for crying out loud, even though he died in the process. Or did he? I don't know, time travel is confusing. Number 2, Scott Truman, Power Rangers RPM. What can I say? This guy led the Rangers in a post-apocalyptic Earth against a computer virus that somehow didn't affect their Zords. Anyways, Scott was a fighter pilot who lost his brother, and as a sudden twist of fate, he became the Red RPM Ranger. Or Ranger Red, according to Dr. K. Amazing how Ranger Red sounds so much better. Red Ranger, Ranger Red. Interesting. Back to it. This guy led the Rangers against Venjix and eventually destroyed the computer virus. He is directly responsible for restoring life on Earth. Oh, and I forgot. He traveled through the multiverse and teamed up with the Samurai Rangers. Yes, Power Rangers apparently have the multiverse. Before we go into our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions that didn't quite make our cut, but we feel they deserve some acknowledgement.
Show me what you got.
Before we reveal our number 1 spot, and before you rant all over my comment section, no, Tommy is not the number 1 Ranger pick. Why? Because he has the mantle of the greatest Power Ranger of all time. So take that crown, Jason David Frank, and go morph into a new Ranger color. So, without further ado, let's get to our number 1 spot.
Tyrannosaurus!
Coming in at number 1, Jason Lee Scott, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Was it that obvious? Let me just say that without Jason, there would not be any Rocky DeSantos or any other Red Ranger at all. Jason paved the way and fought Goldar outside of being morphed more times than I can count. He took on Tommy as the evil Green Ranger all by himself once or twice, defeated a horde of putties, and even returned as a surprise guest in Forever Red. This guy is the very definition of legacy, and he, ladies and gentlemen, is the greatest Ranger of all time. That's it for this video. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment on this video, and don't forget to click that little bell so that every week you'll know that something heroic is on the way. This is Heroic Studios, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.